Minister, I'd like to ask if you can acknowledge the current retention crisis facing on Garda Síochána and what measures your department are taking to address same, what recommendations the department have made to Garda Síochána to increase recruitment to the Garda force, and if you can let us know what that is. But also what I'm really asking is that you acknowledge the current retention crisis facing on Garda Síochána.
Thank you, Deputy. What I would say at the outset is that the numbers that we have are not where I would like them to be, certainly. And due to the fact that the college, whatever way we want to put it, was closed to new recruits. It meant that you had no new recruits going through the college for a period of almost 2 years, which means we're about 1,000 short of where we should be and certainly where I would like to be. So that is a challenge, and certainly that poses a challenge to the overall running and the management of An Garda Síochána. In saying that, obviously our figures are higher than they would have been a number of years prior to COVID-19, but we have more specialist teams, we have more teams working in specialist areas, which means obviously the Gardaí on the beat and that visible presence is where maybe people are feeling that stretch, and that's something that we are constantly, and the Commissioner is trying to respond to. In terms of trying to get numbers into the Garda College, we've committed an unprecedented allocation of €2.3 billion in the budget. So in terms of getting members into the college, money has never been an issue here. The funding that has been required has been allocated. We've had 2 recruitment campaigns since the reopening of the college to new recruits. The first had 12,000 people, I think, that applied, the most recent 5,000, and we'll have a new campaign early in the new year. We've increased the availability allowance, the accommodation allowance for the new trainees by 2/3, which obviously I'd like to go further and keep moving. But for this year we did increase it by 2/3, which I think reflects the fact that members are in the college and some of them have mortgages to pay, their families, and obviously the rate that they had been on was not sufficient. We've also increased the age at which members can join An Garda Síochána, and when we have the new recruitment campaign in the new year, that will now go from 35 to 50. And on the other side of things, in response to a question previous as well, the retirement age is currently at 60, and I anticipate that we will be able to, in the very near future, increase that, reflecting the fact that we are losing a number of skilled people. People are healthier and fitter and living much healthier lives for longer. Overall, we can't just look at people going in. We need to make sure that we're supporting people who are there as well, and that's why those exit interviews are taking place at the moment, to make sure that where people are raising concerns, be it from a structural nature, be it from a support nature, or any other type of nature, that we're able to respond and that we can respond as effectively as possible.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Minister. And I think, look, we all know that there's a huge recruitment crisis. I think there's been many promises and budgetary commitments. Well, clearly you've just said budget's not the issue, so we absolutely have to look at what is the issue and why can we not meet targets, why can we not recruit to cover the capacity of those who are leaving, out sick, on suspension. We're in a bad way, Minister. We are in crisis, and that crisis needs to come to a head. And I think, the recent recruitment campaigns have been well oversubscribed, and so the demand in the general public might actually be there, but there's some reason why we're not getting them into the system. And maybe we need to open a second Templemore Training College somewhere else in the country. We certainly need to look at accommodation, because when I talk to new recruits, their biggest issue is that they're coming out of the college trained, they haven't been stationed anywhere. A week out from having to become An Garda Síochána on the streets, they don't know where they're going to live, and they don't know if they'll get accommodation.
Thank you, Deputy. I know this is a challenge for new recruits when they're coming out. I suppose they only find out where they're going relatively close to before they finish. It is for the very reason that the Commissioner needs to be agile and needs to be able to respond to issues in certain areas as they emerge. So where resources are required, obviously that's where people are directed to. And as I've said, even the most recent class in Templemore are coming out a month early, and that certainly is not something that they might have planned for or anticipated, but they are responding to a need that is there very much in our city centre, but also a requirement that's there outside of Dublin city centre. In terms of the overall targets and trying to meet them, it's been made clear to me that accommodation is not necessarily the problem. We have taken a number of measures to shorten the pass process, because you have a significant number of people applying. It takes a period of time for the pass process to work, for then names to be given to the Gardaí. You then have a medical, you have a fitness, you have vetting. If somebody lives abroad, you have to get vetting from that other country of which you can't dictate a timeline, and then you have to make sure that people still want to join. And actually what's surprising to me is the number of deferrals as well. So you have people who apply but who are still in college or university or studying, and they want to defer to finish that, or for whatever reason. So you have every 3 months of the intake, you have people who defer as well. So you're trying to manage all of this. But overall, I mean, what's very positive to me is that the most recent campaign had 5,000 people, even where we are at full employment. So it shows that this is an organisation that people want to be part of. And certainly I'll do everything that I can to speed up that process, but when Gardaí are in there, to support them insofar as possible.
Minister. Thanks, Minister. And thank you, Chair. I think there is a huge issue with retention as well, Minister. And the major loss when members of An Garda Síochána decide that they need to leave the force, I sincerely hope that we take and are doing exit interviews, and we take the information as feedback, and that we do something with it, because all of their knowledge, all of their training and all of their expertise goes with them, and it takes years to gain that experience as a new recruit. So finally, Minister, I'd like to address this issue, and this is pertinent to how we have difficulties with recruitment today. I've received hundreds of correspondence from retired members of An Garda Síochána inquiring about pension parity, and if that will be maintained in the up and coming pay talks. Now, pension parity means that as a serving Garda, salaries increase, retired Garda pensions also. They increase in line with that. So I think that's primary to how we treat them. If they are in a position where their pension's going to be reduced or not kept on par to deal with the cost of living increases, it's going to be a deterrent for new recruits. So I really hope, Minister, you're in a position to give me a commitment that there will be pension parity.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you.
Deputy, just to assure you, the retention issue, exit interviews are being done, and I will have a full report, as I've said, in the new year. When it comes to the pay talks, obviously I'm not around the table. I can certainly advocate to make sure that the Garda representative organisations are around the table, and that was done at the last round of talks, and again in this round, to make sure that they're around the table in a way that they haven't been in previous years. Obviously anything that's decided or a decision that's taken in the overall talks, they're ongoing at the moment, and I have I suppose full confidence in the associations to make clear their representations and the views of their members in this issue, but also for the Minister and his team to be able to respond, and obviously to get the best outcome insofar as possible for not just the Garda associations, but obviously all of the other unions that are representing their members in the talks.
Thank you.